my name is Mate.
And I'm Teresa, and you are probably wondering what are these two awesome people doing here in this lovely evening. First of all, welcome to the Uncomfortable Zone Show.
We are here to take you out of your comfort zone, the things that will make you say, really? But also we're talking about issues such as mental health and its stigmas, vegan and vegetarian lifestyle, working for free to land a proper job, and young adult exploitation.
Yeah, so take a look at this video to see what we're going to talk about in this episode.
There is a lack of funding for a lot of mental health facilities.
Yeah, opened my eyes to the reality, the harsh reality that it's been going on in the world.
Like, where are you, or where is the interviewer? And they just said, oh, you know, sorry, they wasn't able to make it, but seeing as you turned up, you've got the job.
What?
Like, are they spying on me?
The first one is vegan and vegetarian lifestyle. Are you a vegan, a vegetarian, or a meat eater? What do you think about it? Please send us your tweets to Uncomfortable Zone or our Uncomfortable Zone Facebook page, and we will read your tweets at the end of the show. Teresa, you became a vegan this year, didn't you?
That's right.
What made you change your mind to become a vegan?
Well, I was thinking about it, obviously, and I've seen some YouTube videos of vegan, you know, people who like to post videos on YouTube about it. And I've seen a speech on TEDx that really changed my mind. And also, one thing that is really hard for me was watching a specific documentary, the Earthlings ones, which was, you know, narrated by Joaquin Phoenix, who's a great actor in Hollywood. So that documentary itself made me transition to being a vegan and made me open my eyes to the reality, the harsh reality that it's been going on in the world, especially in the, you know, in the meat industry, in the dairy industry. And I just thought that I couldn't cooperate with that. I couldn't be a part of that, much less a paying customer being a part of that. Yes.
Yeah, I can see why. So what are the biggest misconceptions of the vegan lifestyle?
Well, I think the first is that people think we starve ourselves, which is not true. What I can say that is we do, I mean, I speak only for myself, but I really feel that we need to eat more than usual. So a lot of people just eat the breakfast and then skip it to lunch and then skip it to, you know, a bit of a snack afterwards and then dinner. In my case, I was never like that anyway. So I would always eat in the betweens of every single meal I would take. So I believe that usually vegans need to eat more times a day. In that case, I was already doing that. And the other one is that there are actually people who take vitamins. I take vitamins, and I consider that we do need the vitamins that sometimes meat used to give us that. But at the same time, where do vitamins come from? So they come from the crops the animals eat, and then we eat the animals. But I don't believe that's going on nowadays in the industry, and so I don't think animals are getting the enough nutrients and proteins and vitamins that's where we got ours. So basically, I just take supplements that would otherwise be found in animals. And yeah, they're natural, they don't come from any chemicals. And I only take B12 at this point, but yes, that's one of the misconceptions. I think people would get sick as well. But what you really need to think about is you only get sick because you're probably not being properly, you know, followed by any dietitian. You really need to be aware of what can you eat or can you not eat, or why are you not eating enough, or why are you eating too much, because people get bloated, people get, you know, they can get all sorts of, you know, effects from eating. If you don't eat it right, you won't get it right. So a lot of people say, oh, if you're vegan, you're going to get sick, you're probably going to die, or you're going to get, you know, these kind of issues. And that is only true if you really don't follow the diet correctly and by people who are experts on it. So yes, those I think are the big misconceptions of vegan lifestyle. And I speak for myself as a vegan. A lot of people with vegetarians, they get nutrients, you know, from dairies as well. But yeah, I think that's it.
So could you tell us a bit about the vegan community?
Well, that's another thing that it's hard because everyone's for themselves, right? So there are a lot of militant vegans around the world and the community. And when I say community, I obviously talk about social media because that's where, you know, people find other vegans and I believe that there's people who like to insert their lifestyle on other people, which I'm not like that. So if you ask me those questions, if you ask me how my lifestyle is, and if you want to know more about it, I'll just let you know. But I won't be, if you're eating a meat burger, and I'm gonna say meat before burger because that's how I speak now. But obviously, if you're eating a meat burger, I won't be judging you because you're doing that, and I won't be preaching on you. Oh, did you know that? Did you know that? As much I would like to, obviously, but I just wouldn't do it because that's your personal choice and space. If you ask me something about it, if you ask my opinion, I will give it. But at the same time, I won't do that to you. I won't judge you. And I feel that a lot of vegans, they do that. And that's why these type of militant vegans are, you know, they are, I don't want to say the bad word, but they are screwing that for the other ones. So I think that's a hard experience for other people who are not vegans to have militant vegans around them and saying they're this, they're that because they eat meat or they use the dairy industry. So I think if you stay in your lane and you try to educate people by talking to them and not judging them, I think you'd get more out of it than, you know, just judging by what they're doing, their actions.
Absolutely, yeah. So why do you think that these militant vegans are doing what they're doing?
I think they just want to, they just want to pressure you and make you feel guilty because of your choices. And as much as I would probably think that in some way, because you have to think that you're a meat eater, for example, and there's a lot of things in the meat industry that you have no idea that is happening. And there's one thing is like this cognitive dissonance, which is you're eating this burger, but you have no idea where it came from, how it was processed before that. Maybe you do. Maybe you do.
But I don't care.
Yes, maybe you don't care, maybe you don't remember, maybe you don't think about it. And that's where vegan militants enter and try to make you see the harsh reality, which is not bad, but what is bad is trying to impose that on you to make you change now. Yeah. Which is something that it's wrong to do that to you, because you wouldn't want a meat eater to say, why don't you eat meat? Meat is the best or whatever. So I think doing that in that way is just gonna make it hard for us. That we're not militants. We would like to have a conversation, a discussion, and make it the right way.
Okay, I will.
All right. I'll trust you. I'll trust you to do that.
I will become a vegan after this. Our next topic is one that we really need to talk about.
Yes, absolutely. We want to talk about the importance of mental health and the stigmas around it. Are we treating it as we should be treating it? What are the misconceptions and why are we not talking about it? Here with us to discuss this topic is our lovely guest, Jessica Quinlan.
Hello.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here with us, talking about this very sensitive topic. So, tell us, how common is mental illness in society, and how does it affect people in society?
So it's actually pretty common. According to the Mental Health Foundation, 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health problem. Around 1 in 10 children will experience mental health problems, and depression affects about 12 of the whole population. There are about 450 million people worldwide that have a mental health problem.
And do you consider that these 4 million people, do you think it's 4 million and counting, or do you think that there's a lot of people in society that how do I say, they experience mental illness, but they do not realize it?
A lot of people definitely don't want to accept that they have a mental health problem. A lot because there is that stigma around it, that they're afraid people will judge them for it, or they just don't know how to go about getting help, basically.
So what do you think is the biggest problem in the mental illness in today's society? Let's say England, or where you come from, for example, in America, wherever you think it's easier to talk about this. So what do you think people are most lacking of in the mental illness wise?
Definitely education around it, for sure. The understanding about it, definitely need to be more aware of it, because it is a common problem, and I think it is increasing, unfortunately. But that's why it's so important to help recognize it and help those people that are dealing with the mental health problem.
So let me know, for example, have you experienced any mental health issues?
Personal experience, yes. I've been diagnosed with PTSD in the past. So anxiety and all that kind of stuff that comes with it, it's very challenging. You have to get help for it when you have something like that. So definitely going to see a counselor or even getting on some type of antidepressants can be helpful. So it just really depends on the person, honestly. But for me, yeah, that's what has helped me.
So tell us, like, how did you deal with that the moment you were diagnosed with PTSD? So did you accept that as a mental illness? Were you trying to hide it? Or was it something that you figure out, okay, this is something that has been happening to me and I want to treat it and I want to face it? How did you deal with that?
Unfortunately, a lot of people deal with this when they have a mental health problem. They can't work. I wasn't able to work for about 3 years, to be honest. I'm very much a go-getter, so honestly, like, that was hard, but I just couldn't work. It was just too hard to be around people, and I just really had to focus on myself. So I just kind of had to take a break from life in general and just take care of myself. I had to go to therapy, done lots of therapy, and just, like I said, just focus on myself. Yeah, so.
So, for example, mental health is something that it can be very expensive at some point. So, and what do you think is the hardest thing? I mean, financially, do you think it's something that it's hard on some people because it takes a lot of money for meds, for psychologists or therapists? How do you think people usually manage with it or not?
Yeah, I know that is an increasing problem. There is a lack of funding for a lot of mental health facilities or whatever. So unfortunately, that is a huge problem right now. I know the government's trying to help with funding for stuff like that, but it does take a lot of money, and we need more support around it, basically. Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier about mental illness should be in education. I mean, so people should be educated about mental illness and how they would go about, if they had one or a family member. So how do you think, family members, friends, anybody that is around you or you consider family or, your biggest support around you, do you think that they are as well, being educated in terms of what they should do? Because obviously some people that experience those kind of things, they may react or act in some type of way that it's not understood by the family or by the support system that they have. So do you think that in your case, for example, was your family supportive enough or educated enough to help you in your, hardest time?
Yeah, so honestly, it was hard at times. I felt like people just wanted to send me away until I got better, because I got so anxious at times and my anxiety, and I would get really defensive with people, and honestly, it was kind of really hard because even though people say they would understand, I felt like they wouldn't understand at the same time because of how they were treating me. Because I was just like, well, I thought you understood, but you don't understand why I'm acting this way. And so it was kind of frustrating at times. It's just something you have to deal with, unfortunately.
Well, I've heard a sentence one time that is said, you can't understand what you can acknowledge. So basically, it means that if you don't get through it, you won't understand it. So which I really understand in your family part, that they can understand your position and your issues. We needed a lot of support, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, everybody deals, even if, depends on the situation, even if somebody goes through the same situation, you're still going to deal with it your own way. No one's going to deal with it the same way. You're going to react to it differently. So, I mean, it's just it's going to be different either way.
Yeah.
But yeah. So.
Okay. Thank you for being here with
Yeah,
us,
no
talking
problem.
about this important issue, because really, I think this should be talked about more, around the world.
agree.
Not just, England or America. I think this is a topic that needs emphasizing
I agree.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
For those suffering from any mental health issues, please contact the numbers you are seeing on the screen now.
Our next guest is going to talk about her experience working for free in the media industry.
Students and recent graduates find themselves doing all these trial weeks for companies or internships that are unpaid, but to what extent?
What are we being taken advantage of? Is the work that the interns do more than enough or more than enough? Are we going to find out today? Yes, with us to talk about this topic is our lovely guest, Bahima Bahini. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Can you please tell us about your experience working for free in the media industry?
Yeah, so as you know, media is a very difficult industry to get into, and a lot of young people, don't get paid for ages. A lot of the time they're doing free work. So before I wanted to get into, well, I have loads of different interests. I have interest in journalism, I have interest in radio, and when I wanted to get into journalism a few years ago, I didn't have any experience. So I wrote for an online magazine, and they demanded so much work from me. Every week they wanted me to write 2 to 3 articles, and I was doing university at the same time. I had to study, so I didn't have the time. Then they would get annoyed at me and kind of threaten that they would take me off the list if I don't give them enough work.
Yeah.
And it just became very difficult, to the point where in the end I just had to leave. And I didn't want to, but I felt forced to because I wasn't given that flexibility.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think a lot of companies, they use students for their own benefit.
Yeah.
And they know that they can get away with things that they'll never be able to get away with in the real world. And students don't know their rights a lot of the time.
Yeah.
They don't know that they can make complaints. They don't know that I think it's actually illegal to be doing certain apprenticeships and not be getting paid for it.
Yeah, and in certain periods of time, if it's over.
I think over 2 weeks
over
or something.
2, yeah. So do you think, for example, how could you tell us how long have you been working for free in the media industry, or how many works or gigs have you done in what area as well, in what area expertise?
Oh, I've worked for free for most media things, if I'm honest.
Can you name them some, please? So,
Were
have
they
you
like-
done TV? You've done journalism, right?
Yeah, so I've done journalism. I've done events. I don't know if that kind of falls under it. I've helped out with a lot of events. So I've been like a runner, volunteer. Some of them are family events as well.
Oh.
Family never pays. Well, they pay, but maybe not on time. There's that too. There's also the issue of when you are a creative, there's never a time limit or time schedule. So, someone may say, oh yeah, we're going to pay, today. And then 2-3 weeks later, you're having to chase it up.
Yeah.
I think actually it's only recently, literally maybe 4 weeks ago, that a company contacted me about social media marketing.
Nice.
And I said, okay. And I was worried because they were saying, oh yeah, we want you to do this and that and that and that. And I thought, oh gosh, I don't need another free thing, because free does not pay the bills.
Yeah.
That's
We
true.
need money to live.
Absolutely.
And luckily they said, no, we'll pay you. And they've paid, and they've been very, very good with that. But that in itself, like I'm saying, if all these years I've worked for free, and it's only now that I'm coming into contact with companies that would like to pay for my services, then yeah, it just goes to show, you know. And I think once you've done a few things as well, like advice to young people is be confident in your craft and be confident in your portfolio that you've done, and don't think that you know, you don't have enough experience, or you're not at this level, so you can't demand this.
Yeah.
If you know that you're good enough, then you're able to demand from a company, no, actually, I can work for you, but I need this, you know, and if you can't provide me with this, then I'm not doing it. It's not every opportunity that you have to chase.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you think that, you know, young people, especially after doing their, you know, uni or even during uni, do you think these companies take advantage of? In what kind of ways do you think these, if they do take advantage of, which I believe they do, how do you think they take advantage
Like what
of
ways?
most?
Yeah, sure. I mean, definitely, like I'm saying, time. You know, they're not flexible with the time, especially companies where maybe they need, you know, a lot of companies, they want like ambassadors, and they use students as like a way to wheel them in and say, oh yeah, you can go to this event, or you can do this, or you can do that, and it sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
And then actually when you get yourself into it, there's not that much that is offered.
Into it, yeah.
So that definitely, like dream selling and selling things that are not actually what it seems, that's something that, you know, students get a lot with these companies.
We get that from uni as well, a lot. You know,
Yeah,
uni.
yeah.
And one of the things I believe is that universities should not promote those kind of things. Because one thing is universities promote to students, you know, some work that could benefit them, you know, in terms of contact and networking, all that, and, you know, all those sort of things. But at the same time, I believe that universities are in contact with a lot of production companies or people they know of that, you know, take advantage of students and say, oh, just grab a couple of students from your university where you work for, or where you teach, or where you, I don't know. And I think that universities should not help promote, you know, free work, or not only free work, but at the same time work that it's way underpaid, which I've seen before.
Yeah.
And I can give you an example. I remember I received an email, you know, those emails that goes to everybody. And it was Indian wedding, I believe, or Middle Eastern wedding, in which it was 3 days. So the wedding was 3 days. And they were paying £250 for the 3 days of filming
and editing.
and everything, 3 days. And they might give you extra £20 for, you know, the location expenses.
Yeah.
So for you to go to the place where the wedding was happening, they would give you up to £20, and that's it. And I was reading the email, and I felt, you know, I felt a bit, I didn't like it, because I thought £250 wouldn't even cover for my editing part, much less the filming part. Do you know what I mean? It's something, when you think about video, for instance, it's something that takes a lot of time. Even if it's a 2-minute video, it can take up to 20 hours. If I mean, I don't know. It depends on your experience, but I think I don't know what you think, obviously, but I think the university still enlist that on students as well. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I understand. I think it's a two-way street, because you know, people do need experience, so some people are still willing to do those kind of things for a cheaper rate. But I think, like you're saying, you know, when it comes, they need to kind of categorize it and be a bit more savvy with who they send certain things out to. So for example, if you're a master's student, the university should assume all master's students should be at a certain level, or would be expecting a certain amount of pay. So certain opportunities, we're not going to send it their way, because it's useless to them. Free work, paying for travel costs. You know, nobody wants to do work and you're only getting your travel paid for. And then, you know, some companies, this is another thing as well, actually. Some companies, well, they'll say, oh yeah, we'll cover all the expenses. But then you have to fill out like a long form, you know, put your mother's name, your father's name, your grandparents, even everything, just to get £10 back. And it's like,
it's ridiculous.
You know, I spent my time and everything. I've done all this stuff for you, and just for you to give me like one thing back is like a whole process. That's not fair, you know.
No, not at all.
So yeah, I definitely think that universities need to send the right opportunities to the right kind of students. Because there are a lot of emails that come through, and you just think to yourself, really, like, I've gone past that stage where I need experience. Like, how much more experience can you do? You know, a lot of the time with experience, it's great,
It comes
you're
with
not going to
network
learn
as well.
Yeah, you're not going to learn everything you need to don't know in a 2-3 day or
Well,
2 week period. You're going to learn on the job.
Yeah.
Most jobs are about learning on the job. Once you learn on the job, you pick things up,
Yeah.
you learn your
Absolutely.
own methods. So yeah.
I just have a question about, we talked about unpaid experiences, which make the experience quite unsatisfying. But what are the attitudes that you came across throughout these opportunities?
What, from the employers or?
Yeah.
So when opportunities are unpaid, it's a very kind of like dismissive attitude. I mean, this is not to do with creative industry, but I was talking to my friend recently. She said she's doing like a temporary role as like an admin at a university, and they really do treat her like a temp, you know. People don't get to know her. They don't even know her name, some of them. They don't really say hi to her. They just don't bother to interact with her because it's like, oh, you're going soon, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's not good
That's
because
Not at all.
discouraging.
yeah, you're right. It's discouraging.
Discouraging, yeah.
It's just like you feel, why am I here? You know?
Yes, and definitely.
And it doesn't give you that
It's like
confidence. It doesn't build you up.
You're
Not at
filling a
all.
role,
Yeah.
but the next one will come and do exactly the
You're
same.
just a number.
yeah,
Yeah.
just
you
a
know?
number.
That's it.
That's the main thing. A lot of companies just make you feel like you're just a number, and you don't even feel comfortable to ask certain questions. Maybe there's things that you want to know, but the company are not making you feel comfortable enough to even ask the managers or directors, and
Yeah.
that's really a big thing as well. So sometimes as well, you know, a student goes to do an unpaid job and they come back with nothing.
Yeah.
You know, essentially, they come back exactly where they started. So there's just no point.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tough one, but I think when you know your worth, then just kind of stop looking for unpaid work and
Yes.
stop taking it up and
Definitely
do
agree.
research on the company. That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's something actually I want to emphasize. So again, nothing to do with the creative industry, but when I came out of university, it was very difficult for me to find a job as usual. And I went to a job interview that it wasn't a job interview. If I could quickly kind of tell the story, what happened was I got an email saying it was for an admin job. They said, oh yeah, come and meet us at a hotel. And I thought, that's different.
Yeah.
But I was young and naive, so I was like, okay. So I went along to this hotel
Yeah.
and I asked the hotel reception, you know, is this company here? I'm meant to have a meeting with them. And they were like, oh, we haven't heard of them before, but maybe they'll come later. Just sit down and wait for a bit. I waited for 1 hour. And then the guy called me and he said, oh, are you there? And I said, yeah, I've been here for 1 hour. Like, where are you, or where is the interviewer? And they just said, oh, you know, sorry, they wasn't able to make it. But seeing as you turned up, you've got the job. I said, what? Like, are they spying on me? Or
Yeah.
they haven't seen my face. I might not even be real, you know.
Yeah.
Are you real? So,
That is really weird.
so I got really, really scared. So then
That's a very scary movie, though.
Yes.
It is.
I remember telling my family and they were just like, no, like, please don't. Because then they said, oh, you can come to our office now. But they were like, don't go to the office. They might kidnap you or something.
Yeah,
It's
this-
not right that they've given you a job and they haven't even met you face to face.
Yeah.
So I then,
Well, nothing.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
sketch or something.
literally, I then researched this company and other people had the same experience. And then I started researching into jobs and actually the reasons why a lot of fake job interviews happen. And, you know, you guys know the HMRC. So it's a company that looks after, they check all companies basically. They're,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
the regulators of all
They
companies.
the HR of HR.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And the HMRC every year do checks on companies to see how many people they've employed, if they're from different, you know, ethnic backgrounds, age groups, religions. They check all these things, and they also check how many job advertisements they're putting out every year. And if companies aren't reaching certain quotas, then they can actually potentially have their company, you know, dismissed. So that's why a lot of companies actually put out fake job interviews for roles that never existed.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my goodness. So this is why a lot of people, young people, are getting tricked. I remember telling all my friends after my experience, and another friend of mine said, oh yeah, she had a job she got an email about a job interview at a hotel, and she was like, Bahima, I'm not going, because I could already tell that this is going to be something similar to yours.
I think you were
So-
lucky, though. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, it could
Yeah.
have been anybody, and you know, no hotel room. You never know.
Yeah,
You know?
no, it's true, you know. So
Yeah, it is.
yeah, it was a very dangerous situation, because even if the person had come and then maybe taken me to a room or something, I don't know what that person would
Yeah.
have done to me, or, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of research the company before you go there's a lot of companies that make it seem as though it's one thing and you could actually be putting yourself in danger.
And don't forget, a lot of young people especially, they would do anything to get in their dream company.
Yeah.
So we never know how, you can be taken advantage of in these kind of situations. We know our limits, but we don't know, everybody else's limits. And I think they are really, taken advantage of. And one of the things I always, told myself was all along, my journey as a student and even afterwards was, I would never work for free for just any company. Like, for me, I wouldn't mind working for free if that would mean making great contact.
Yeah.
Even if I would never land the job, as I could name a few companies, but I won't. But obviously, the big ones, and I wouldn't mind working for, big companies, good companies, well-known companies. But if I would get out of there with some knowledge at least and experience and, a few contacts up my sleeve so I can, one day make a phone call and probably say, oh, you got something for me? Or I would feel like my time was well spent and I wouldn't feel I would need, any reward for that because that would be my reward. Yeah. But I've seen, a lot of ads that, oh, we want promoters or we want somebody to help with the tickets in this party. It's just, you get to be in the festival for free. And thank you, no.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's not something that's going to help me with anything. And yes, I could meet a lot of people, but do I have the time to do it? Being having been a master's student, I think that wouldn't really help me at this point.
No, I completely understand.
I think we really need to know our worth as students and
Yeah.
as creatives.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the main thing, like you said. If you know the company's going to give you value and a presence on your portfolio and you know that the type of contacts you could make there would be amazing for your career, go for it, even if it is free.
Yeah.
If not, don't waste your time
Yeah.
because you have no one to blame but yourself, you know.
That's true. Wow. Working for free is something that it gives you a lot to think about.
It does, it really does. And we discussed mental health before, and I think it really adds to this whole thing that the young adults are put through. It really affects
not just working for free, but also like you said, being underpaid.
Yeah.
Yes.
That can also be an issue.
Plus the attitude and how you're treated, as you said, like a number.
Yeah.
And it really, really makes you feel like unworthy and just
it can be dangerous
inside.
for some people.
Empty inside. Yeah, I think that's what our society has to learn finally, that treating the future like this.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound like, the little kid who's like, yeah, I don't want to work for free, I don't want to do nothing. But I think it's a really important thing to learn at this point, to treat the young adults as they will be the future. And if we just underpay them and just treat them like garbage, like with the attitudes like you're a number and you don't get to meet anybody because you will be gone in 2 weeks, then it's going to seriously affect our future and our...
I mean, don't get me wrong, be realistic with yourself. Like, if, for example, you know for a fact that you don't have enough as a portfolio to show to companies and people, then you do need to work for free because I think there's some people that do one or two things, get a bit too big for their boots and feel as though, oh, I don't need to do anything else again. But we're always learning, we're always developing. So free opportunities really can be good.
Oh, yeah,
but
absolutely.
it's if you do feel you definitely are at that certain level now, you have what you need, then by all means, you be a bit more specific with what you're going for. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I agree with that. I done my fair share of free work as well, but I managed to get great contacts out of it and great experiences.
And that's what it counts.
I learned a lot, but unfortunately, there are experiences where they really treat you like you're nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
and they really think they don't care about your feelings or anything.
That's
basically.
True. But then again, you use those experiences to build you up because that's the real world, Like, it's sad, but actually sometimes when you learn these things as an intern or as a student, when you go into big companies and you do, because a lot of directors and managers are not nice people, they don't care about the company or the employees. They just care about...
If you're not making them, money.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't care.
And sometimes even when you are making them money, sometimes, remember, we're humans before anything. Sometimes people just don't like you.
Yeah.
They just... There's no reason, they just don't like you, you know. So sometimes you have, or you have directors or managers who we all have lives outside of work. People take out their own personal problems on you or the company or whatever. So you're not always going to go into a happy environment.
Yeah.
But it's about how you manage that and deal with those situations and learn to speak up. That was my biggest issue.
Yeah.
It's sometimes difficult when you don't have a personality that's very bold and confrontational. But if you don't learn how to confront things right there and then you will keep being used.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's just
I
about
learned that the
finding a
hard way,
middle
you know.
ground, you know, like, okay, I don't mind doing this for you, but I also need this. Not saying it aggressively, just
Yeah.
in a calm manner. And most times actually the person will be like, okay, yeah, no problem, because they respect the fact that you've stood up for yourself and come to them. So that's another thing I would say as well.
You can always try. They might say no. They
Yeah,
might say yes,
but you tried, isn't
But you
it?
tried it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more confident as you can sound. You should try it. And I learned that the hard way, to be fair.
Yeah.
And today, I feel like I'm more open to, not to be such a pushover, and you want this, ask. Why not? If it's possible, if it's not something that is out of your league or out of your comfort zone. I think if it's something that I would be comfortable in doing, and I want this, and I can give something back, I think I would absolutely suggest it.
Definitely.
It was great talking to you, Bohima.
Lovely
Really great
talking
talk.
to
Really
you.
great talk, and
Thank you very much.
we can share this experience with other people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
For the last part, our awesome social media manager, Maria, is going to read your tweets and update us on the highlight news for this week. Enjoy.
Hello, I am Maria, and I'm here to update you on this week's news. First, we start with the heartbreaking news of Miley and Liam breakup. Oh yes, our OTP has parted their ways. Well, moving on a more serious note, Goldsmith University bans the sale of beef from its campus. Well, in an effort to fight climate change. Students will also face 10p levy on bottles of water and single-use plastic cups when the academic year starts, to discourage the use of products. That's amazing. Also, the uniqueness of being left-hander is being celebrated. Oh yeah, rearranging silverware at a restaurant or dealing with pencil smudges? Well, left-handers are sharing stories and feelings during this Left-Handers Day. Interesting. Are you left or right-handed? Tell us what some problems you face. Jenner turned 22 this week and receives tons of tweets from family, celebrity friends and fans as she celebrates her birthday in Italy. Because she's a billionaire, and I'm 22, and I'm not a billionaire, but I want to be a billionaire. Versace issues apology after t-shirt uproar in China. Well, the Italian brand expressed deepest and sincerest apologies after it allegedly implied that Hong Kong and Macau, I don't know if I'm spelling it right, special administrative regions in China, are countries. The controversy also caused Yang Mi, its newly ambassador, to end her contract. What Donatella Versace said, "Never have I wanted to disrespect China's national sovereignty, and this is why I wanted to personally apologize for such inaccuracy and for any distress that it might have caused." Well, maybe study more and try to look about the country you want to get money from. Now, time to get the tweets you send us on the @uncomfortable zone. So here, I have some of your tweets. Let's see. @HiHimJesse tweeted, "Could never be a vegetarian. I mean, we only live once. Why give up the one of the best things ever if we're all gonna die? Oh girl, that's harsh, and that's really bad." Well, how about think about the future generations? Or how about the cruelty that animals face? Just think about that. Moving on, @Tyra the Taurus tweeted, "If you think vegans are easily offended, try telling a meat eater you made wings out of cauliflower." Well, I would love to see their face though. Moving on to our next tweet, @The Vegan Queen tweeted, "Most vegans were raised vegan." Well, I was. Anyway, we know meat and animal products taste good. We also know that that doesn't justify unnecessary exploitation. Real good, that. Moving on to our final tweet, @Vegan Queen Life, another queen. If you think veganism is expensive, wait till you see how much money you save after people stop inviting you out with them. Well, I hope now you have friends though, because there are many vegans right now. Thank you for sending us those tweets, and we're looking out for more at @Uncomfortable Zone. That's it from me, and we'll see you next week.
What a crazy week it has been. Thank you, Maria.
So that's it for us. Thank you for watching us, and until next week, don't forget to send us your tweets at Uncomfortable Zone or the Facebook page of Uncomfortable Zone.
So that's it from Mate.
And Teresa.
And as always, stay happy and healthy.
Yes.